Have you ever looked at someone you know is just brilliant? I mean, a genius. And they believe something that makes you scratch your head and think, how is that even possible? It's a super weird quirk of the human brain, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly why being smart doesn't always mean being rational. All right, to kick things off, let's look at a case study that is, well, it's a perfect and kind of wild paradox that really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about. So meet Dan Ariely. If you're into behavioral economics at all, you definitely know this name. He's basically a rock star in the field, famous for his work on, you guessed it, dishonesty, and why we all do irrational things. And his resume is just incredible. He's a professor at Duke. He's got 3 New York Times bestsellers. One is literally called The Honest Truth About Dishonesty. He's made a film about it. His work even inspired that NBC show. I mean, seriously, when it comes to the science of lying, this guy is the authority. Okay, so here's the twist. The guy who, again, wrote the book on dishonesty, well, he ended up at the center of a huge scandal. One of his own major studies on the topic had to be pulled because, get this, the data it was based on was faked. So what is going on here? How can the world's expert fall into the very trap he studies? You know, the answer here isn't really just about one person. It's about us. It tells us something really important and, frankly, a little uncomfortable about how all of our brains are wired. Okay, so let's pull back for a second, because this whole thing, it's not just a one-off. It's actually a really common phenomenon, and psychologists have even given it a name. That name is dysrationality. It was coined by a psychologist named Keith Stanovich, and it's the perfect word for this gap. You know, the gap between being super intelligent on paper, but not always thinking or behaving rationally in the real world. And if you want proof, check this out. They did a survey of Mensa members, right? The High IQ Society. And they found that over half of them, 56%, believed that extraterrestrials have visited Earth. Think about that. It's a belief with basically zero hard scientific evidence, yet it's held by people who are, by definition, some of the smartest folks around. And this pattern goes way back. You've got guys like William Crookes, a famous physicist, discovered an element, super smart, who got totally fooled by spiritualist mediums. Or, fast forward, you've got Carey Mullis, a Nobel Prize winner, who was big into astrology and was a denier of both climate change and the link between HIV and AIDS. The evidence is everywhere. Being brilliant doesn't make you immune to believing weird stuff. So what gives? If having a high IQ isn't the problem, then what is? Well, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to separate 2 ideas that we usually just mush together. Here's the best way to think about it. Intelligence is like the engine in a car. It's your raw cognitive horsepower, right? Your memory, how fast you can think, your creativity. It's what comes up with new ideas and beliefs. But critical thinking? That's totally different. That's the steering wheel, the GPS, and the brakes. It's the process you use to check those ideas, to slow down and to ask, hey, is this actually true? It's what directs that powerful engine. And this quote from Dr. Iselin Wolf just nails it. Weird beliefs aren't a sign of a bad engine. Actually, it can take a really powerful engine, a lot of intelligence, to build a super complex but wrong belief system. The problem isn't a lack of horsepower, it's a defect in the steering. Okay, so what is it about our brains that makes our steering so faulty? Well, you could say we all come with some, let's call it biased programming, straight from the factory. And that programming isn't always designed to find the objective truth. A huge part of this is something called my-side bias. It's pretty simple, really. It just means our brains are wired to agree with themselves. We actively look for evidence that proves we're right, and we tend to ignore or be super critical of anything that suggests we might be wrong. We all do it. It's our default mode. And here is the absolute key. Research is super clear on this. My-side bias has pretty much nothing to do with how smart you are. Being a genius doesn't give you a free pass. Your IQ score tells you 0 about your ability to overcome this bias. It affects everyone. This all leads to maybe the most shocking part of this whole story. It's not just that being smart doesn't protect you. Sometimes it can actually make things worse. Let's go back to our car analogy for a second. Imagine your steering wheel is locked, pointing you towards a belief you already have. Now, does giving that car a bigger, faster engine help you reach the right destination? Or does it just help you get to the wrong one way faster? So researchers wanted to test this exact idea. They used something called the cognitive reflection test, or CRT. It's basically a test to see how good you are at stopping, ignoring your first gut reaction, and using that slower, more careful part of your brain. A high score means you're more of a reflective, deep thinker. Now, you'd think the people who scored high on this test would be less biased, right? I mean, that's what everyone assumed, but the results were the complete opposite. When it came to politically charged topics, the people with the highest CRT scores were actually the most polarized. They were just better at using their brain power to find clever ways to make the data fit what they already believed. And that's the big, stunning reveal. Higher intelligence doesn't make you a better judge searching for objective truth. It can actually make you a better lawyer. It gives you more tools to defend your client, which is your existing belief, no matter what. You just get better at building an airtight case for what you already want to be true. Okay, so what do we do with all this? How do we stop our own smart brains from leading us astray? All right, here's what to remember. First, know the difference. Intelligence creates ideas, but rationality tests them. They're two separate skills and you need to work on both. Second, watch out for that amplifier effect. Your smarts can be used to dig you deeper into a hole, not just to find the truth. And third, ask yourself why you believe something. Is it because it's true or because it helps you fit in with your tribe? Sometimes we have to choose between being right and just being part of the team. And this quote from the experts who did all this research really sums it up. Having a high IQ is no vaccine against this stuff. You're not immune. Nobody is. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Your mind is an amazing lawyer. It's brilliant, it's persuasive, and it's on retainer for you 24/7. So what case are you going to ask it to argue? The case for which you already believe, or the case for what's actually true?